Marketing Your Private Practice is a podcast where you'll learn easy to implement tips and strategies to grow your business without spending all day online. I'm your host, Kathy Colaiacovo, and I teach practitioners the Thrive marketing method to create simple and streamlined plans by focusing on long-term strategies, not just social media. Discover ways to spend less time on your marketing, attract more clients, and build the financial freedom that comes with a thriving practice. One where you have time left in your day for the people and things that matter to you. Hey, private practice heroes, it's Kathy Colaiacovo with the Marketing Your Private Practice podcast. And today we're doing one of our free marketing reviews with Mackenzie Costron, and she is a heart-centered business coach who lives in Jabuktuk, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Mackenzie is the co-founder of Costron & Co., and she works alongside Jackie Costron, who is her mom. And she says it is a nice privilege to be able to work alongside her mom and her dad, Richard, who serves as Costron & Co.'s business manager. Mackenzie is a licensed heart center facilitator, which informs the work she does at Costron & Co., as well as helps with her second business, because who, as an entrepreneur, only wants to have one business? We've got to have more than one, right? And the second business is called Find Your Voice Music Therapy. And they have locations in Kingston, Ontario, and Halifax, Nova Scotia. Mackenzie is also a certified music therapist and registered counseling therapist. And that's where she takes that experience and expertise she has in training and uses music and storytelling to bring hope, love, and light into people's lives. So today we're going to focus, though, on her work with Costron & Co. And before we dive into this, I want to say welcome, Mackenzie. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here too. Thank you for this space.
Excellent. Oh, you're very welcome. I can't wait. We network together a lot in a group here, the Center for Women in Business Coffee Talk. So it's kind of nice to get to know you a little more through this experience that we're going to do here with this marketing review and focus in on your business.
Thank you.
Now, but before we dive in, I do want to remind everyone listening in, these reviews that I'm doing are free and open to you all. They're a way that I like to help practice and business owners focus in on a roadblock that's holding you back with your marketing or growing your business. And what you get from a session like this are some first steps to take that help you move forward and start seeing the results you're after, reaching your goals. So let's get into Mackenzie's special marketing review. Now, what I typically do is when people apply, I ask you to tell me a little bit about what you want to talk about. So Mackenzie, I'm going to read your exact words from the application. You wanted to know how to optimize workshop sales bookings using a business-to-business proposal outreach model. And then you also asked, what should the job of these two offers be with sales and client engagement? Now, you had also given me a little background before. So these two offerings you have, one is called Shine Your Light and one is called Inner Leadership. And so both of them focus on business owner wellness. And what you were talking about and kind of asking me, and I'm going to get you to explain it a little bit more here in a second. But one of the things you had said is you were looking to know if submitting one or two would be advantageous when you're connecting with organizations. So I think what you're saying is you've got these two offerings and you want to know if you should put both of them in front of people or just one of them. Is that what you're getting at? So maybe explain a little more about what you want to know about this.
Yeah. So I guess to give you a little bit of more information on these offerings is, like you mentioned, they're both business owner wellness related offerings because that's something I am really interested in as a business coach and something that I specialize in. And so Shine Your Light is more of a foundational kind of offering for individuals or groups centered around your why for being here as an entrepreneur and really getting grounded into your values and messaging as the business owner, as the solopreneur. And so there's that offering. And then there's the resilient leadership or inner leadership, is all about cultivating resiliency and well-being as you're growing your practice, as you are launching, as you're scaling. So it's kind of part two in a way for how the offerings flow. So I guess the the question was kind of as I'm connecting with organizations and businesses that I'm thinking would be interested in this type of work. Yeah, would it be advantageous to kind of have both these offerings for them or to focus on one? Because I guess there's room for them to maybe do both, or maybe they're interested in one or the other and they want to hear a little bit at the beginning about that. So yeah, does that answer your question?
A little bit. So I'm going to go back to tell me these offerings that you call them. So the inner leadership one, tell me what kind of program it is. Like what happens with that? How do you run it with somebody? And do you run it with one person? This is really important because I actually can't tell from what you're describing. Is it like a solo entrepreneur would sign up to do this with you one-to-one? Or do you do these as group things where you need like 5 businesses or 5 people to sign up?
That's the thing about this offering is that like the curriculum or what you would learn from it, it can be delivered in both a one-to-one context and also a group context. So it is adaptable to both.
Okay.
So this is one area that I'm interested in focusing on with Marketing with Costron & Co. is specifically partnering with groups with organizations to offer group circles to talk about these kinds of topics. I see that there's a beauty in being in community when sharing about business owner wellness and being in that learning space together. So that's kind of what we're looking at, is applying this specifically within group contexts with certain organizations that are looking to offer this to members.
Okay. And so everybody listening, if you do want to look and follow along at all, Mackenzie's website is costronco.com. So COSTRONCO.com. And we're looking at, I don't actually know if they can find the links from the website or not, but we're looking at a couple pages on there that she's got. She's probably got them hidden at this point, maybe off the menu. But what I want to know for how you're going to present this to people, are you going to send them to a link on the website, or are you actually going to have like a brochure you mail them or some sort of PDF that you send them with the information? Tell me that too.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So when in my question, when I mentioned proposals, I kind of have this vision of having, or not, and I've created some of these already for some organizations, is kind of this is what the workshop is. This is what you would get from it. This is maybe why you want to invest in this, the cost, the length, the highlights, I guess, of moving forward. So it would be like an electronic PDF to attach in emails when reaching out to people, but also having some highlights of like what would the learning outcomes be, but always referencing the website page as well, which is on our website.
And so would those brochures and those PDFs look kind of different than what I see here on the website now?
Yes. Yeah. It would look more like just a Word document, I guess, with our logos and branding.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely different, but like using, maybe pulling a little bit of the themes and language, I guess, from the website.
All right. And one thing around your messaging with this, I just want to find out, if you were telling me for the first time about it and you wanted to tell me that you have, let's just say for the inner leadership one right now, how would you, like, we met at a networking meeting, we're in our coffee talk, we're talking in a room, and you kind of think maybe that I'm the right person for this. How would you bring that up? And what would you tell them in just a couple sentences of what this is that you offer?
So inner leadership, it's about connecting to your well-being and resiliency as a business owner and being in alignment with a heart-centered, reflective living rather than a reactive kind of charged space, as life and the world, our work in the world, through our businesses can be really overwhelming sometimes.
Okay. I'm going to back you up again.
Sure.
We're meeting in a group and you think that I might be interested in this program. How would you tell me that you have this program? How would you describe it overall, big picture of what it is? And if I'm stumping you, that's okay. I'm going to give you a tip.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not really fully understanding the question. So thank you.
So it's a service you offer. It's a program you offer. It's a course you offer. How do you think of it in those terms?
Yeah, it's for me, it's a course, as I mentioned, around business owner wellness.
Okay.
And how do we cultivate that? And having like certain topics that we address in this is resiliency for wellness.
Okay.
You're connecting to your wisdom and your knowledge as a business owner, and how can that cultivate well-being and resiliency as you run your business.
Okay.
Mostly from wanting to be from a place of being deeply well.
Right. Okay. So someone who would be a good fit for this program, what kind of problem do they have? Like if they're looking for something like this, what's their problem? What is it they're looking for when they start thinking about, I need something to help me because I'm...
Yeah. The people seeking this program would be people who are ready to move from this like hustle grind culture into this culture of flow, ease, abundance, and efficiency. Maybe they're done with conventional, mainstream, maybe patriarchal, Eurocentric, or capital ways of doing business. It could be those people could be called into this space as well. Okay.
And when they do this work with you, what do they come out with in the end? What's that transformation they have?
Yeah, just echoing what I said before, like the transformation would be more flow, more ease, more creativity, confidence, and calm within their lives and in their business.
And what does that do for them if they have that?
When they have that, they are operating from a place of deep wellness and have ways to navigate challenges from a place of grace rather than a place that's sensitive, I guess, or painful, because there's stuff going on that's in their lives or maybe in their business that's really stressful. So it's hard to respond. It's hard to respond in difficult situations. It's hard to be creative. It's hard to, run your businesses, run your lives.
Okay. So they end up with less stress, more calm, more peace.
Yeah, for sure.
You talk on the website about a place where you can consider a 4-day work week, having rest seasons in your life. So you're bringing them to that kind of transformational place where their business of their dreams and the life of their dreams is probably possible.
Yeah,
correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. And if somebody who was an ideal client for this were to Google a problem, looking for a solution like you have, and they don't know about the program, they don't know about you, what do you think they would throw into a Google search?
I would say probably something to the effect of being overwhelmed, exhausted, tired as an entrepreneur. I think a lot of us get called to being entrepreneurs because we like the idea of working for ourselves, and we like the idea of we're passionate about a certain idea, and we want to be the creator of that vision, I guess. And I think in that we get lost in the logistics, and there's lots to consider as an entrepreneur. So it comes back, this work just helps people come back to wanting to work for yourself and wanting to be happy and peaceful when you work for yourself, rather than run down and tired and overwhelmed and stressed.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So one of the reasons that I'm asking you these questions is because when I went on the website page that you shared with me, I couldn't quite understand exactly, I couldn't kind of feel who it was for and how it helped them really clearly, really from the beginning. You know, at the top on the page, you have inner leadership, connecting to your well-being, and resiliency. That gives me a little bit, but you've said a lot more words just now that are more what somebody would be actively thinking about themselves. The burnt out part. So some of the words that you said, and you have some of them there, but they're at the very bottom of the page, right? You talk about, who is it for? It's for people who are feeling burned out and disconnected from a heart-centered business. You want to, develop a different way with your business. defining your vision for a dream business where you can be of loving service to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So you're speaking to the heart-centered entrepreneur, definitely. But a lot of that wording that is going to hit home, the messaging, you have kind of hidden down at the bottom.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I would suggest to you, because part of being able to do this reach out that you want to do is you've got to explain clearly what this is,
Mm-hmm.
who it's for, and how it helps them. And that's where one of the things that you're continually, in your application to me on the page, you call it an offering. So I might encourage you to get a little more detailed. Is this a service? Is this a program? This one in particular, you talk about it's a 120-minute session. So do you do any work beforehand with them?
With the
do
group
they fill
or
out
the
any
individual?
questions? Either one.
Usually when people are interested in like business owner wellness, either they're in a group context or individual context, we have a little bit of an insight on why, like what their journey is, how it, maybe they're not feeling well and they want to shift to a certain state. So we get to know them a little bit.
Okay.
Through conversation.
Right. But ahead of time, before that 120 minutes. And then it's just 1 2-hour session or a group workshop?
Yeah. So if it's in the group context, then yes, that's the length of the session. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then do you mind if I ask what you charge for it?
I don't have that information right in front of me, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is somebody who's going to do this as a one-on-one individual, is it going to be over $500?
If it's an individual, then it would be under 500.
Under.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for groups, I assume you're going to charge per person type of thing.
Yeah. It's a different structuring for partnering with an organization.
Okay. So, and the reason I'm kind of diving into this is because your reach out, and I definitely think getting clarity around both of the programs so that you can succinctly let somebody know what it is, what they get out of it, what will happen with them, and what kind of people it's really going to help because it hits home with their problems. That clarity is something that I would like you to have a little more defined than is there right now.
Yeah.
Now, you may have some of that stuff in the PDF that you're building and different pieces like that. But right now, sending people to the page that you have, I think is going to give a little more confusion than clarity to them. Because you also want to make sure, especially if you're doing something, let's just say, I'm not saying that is for sure, but let's just say you're going to charge $400 for this service. You said under $500. A lot of people will look at this as for what you have here and say, well, it's something there. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the beginning. It's for people who do this. Yeah, that's me. It's 2-hour session is $400. So it's $200 an hour. Like that's how they're going to think about it in that way. So I think you can present it because it sounds to me like you get a bit of ahead information, like some information from them ahead before the first session. You go through the session, the topics that are addressed, you have a list of that. What do they walk away with? Like it's a workshop, it's a series for an individual. I think one of the things that you need some clarity on so that you can tell them, especially because it sounds like they do one and then they might do the other as a second, like as a part two, as the next step, a stage, step-by-step type of thing. So coming to some clarity with that, I think is the first step that you need here. And one of the things that I would encourage you to change on the website and how you present it is not refer to it as an offering. Okay. A lot of people do this. So they take courses and people help them develop a signature program. And then when you look at their website, there are actually a lot of people out there that say, come and buy my signature program, right? Like you want to come to something more of a name to call it that you have. You're the only person that's going to have that and offer it. And then you're not really competing with other people. So yes, it is an offer that you have, but I think you would have more tangible value to it for people if you said, it's an inner leadership training, an inner leadership.
Yeah, I can bring clarity to that. So when I say heart-centered business offerings, it's kind of connected to this learning. It can either be done in an individual setting or a group. as I mentioned before, and it depends on the interest of the people. Sometimes people like to learn in groups. Sometimes they like to learn on their own. But if I was talking in the context of this conversation, if I was talking to an organization, the language that we would use is a group circle.
Right. Okay.
And that would be something that I would put more into the proposal. But I'm hearing what you're saying on how we can streamline the page and having these kinds of names of what it looks like if you go down path 1 for one-to-one. What does it look like? And what is it called? If you go down path 2, it for groups.
Right.
And putting more clarity at the top of the website of who it's for and what they're getting out of it.
Right. Because at some point you are going to use these 2 pages in what you're doing.
Yep.
So they are really going to need clarity. And that same clarity needs to come in the emails that you send out, the reach out that you do.
For sure.
So it all has to fit in there. The other thing just on the website part that I would recommend is you kind of go down through everything, description of it, testimonials, and then you give them the option to sign up. And it's like a contact us today.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely you want to have that at the bottom. Calls to action always have at the bottom of a page on any website so they know what to do next. Yeah. But
it's not
I think you could, you need it up at the top too, for sure.
That's an oversight on our part. It's definitely something we know to do. And we missed it on this page. So
and I would be a lot more clear in your options here. Path 1, held seasonally, sign up for a newsletter to make sure you don't miss out. Path 2, connect with us. You may want to rethink the newsletter part. I would probably say for both of them, connect, contact us today, apply. And the reason I say that is if you're putting them in a generic spot on your newsletter and they're actually interested in this group, you don't know where those people then fit on there. So I would be more direct with the reach out and tell them, reach out today to let us know to put you on the wait list. And then in your email system or whatever, you can have like a tag or something that says wait list for group, because that's the one, the workshop series held seasonally kind of thing. If you want to do it individually, contact us today. So I would not, in a case like this, in a program like this, just send somebody to the newsletter, because you want to know, part of your reach out, you're going to be reaching out to companies in person, online, and people can find you online. In this case here, you will miss out and lose who the actual targeted interest person is if you put them in your generic news. Okay. So if you can make your news, sign them up for a specific tag or a wait list, do that.
Totally.
But at the same time, for something like that, especially a group one, I'd probably want to talk to them now and get them on the phone versus putting them into an email list to find out sometime soon. Because in your conversation on the phone, I mean, this is part of your reach out. If you find out they have 10 people and they want to do a group now, would you run a group right now?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I would look at that as a starter for both of them and make sure that you've got that clarity with each one of those. For reach out, the best ways that you can go out there. So do you have like a prospect list that you want to?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it clients or businesses?
They're businesses. So I specialize naturally as a therapist and a creative. I specialize in working with creative health and wellness entrepreneurs. And I'm also a new mom, and I'm really passionate about supporting mom business owners because I'm in it and I'm learning. So I would love to share what I know with those group of people as well. So I have a list of different businesses in those sectors.
Okay.
It's a list with, who to connect with, their contact information. Yeah.
Okay. So what I would probably do for reach out like that, I wouldn't necessarily just send them to the website. And by the way, neither website says anything about your passion for moms on it. So if you really want to connect with the mompreneurs.
No, it's true. And it's something that I have not done. This is very live in the moment. It's been something that's on my mind, but I haven't got it up yet. And that's something is just
definitely put that on the list.
It's something that I hope to get to integration with branding and messaging one day, but definitely focusing. It's all focused on the website right now, I guess, on creative health entrepreneurs.
So you could easily put a piece in because both of them say, who's it for? New and aspiring entrepreneurs and startup business owners.
Yeah.
seasoned business owners who feel burnt out. I would put in there, another line and just say, this is also ideal for the mompreneur who's starting out. Cause,
sure.
I get where you're at kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would do that for sure. But the reach out that you do, because you're going to either be calling or emailing or visiting in person, I would have a very clear, PDF or something you can drop with them or mail to them. I would consider, I'm always someone who considers mail. Like, don't let email be your only way of reach out, especially in this day and age. You don't know from your own personal inbox if somebody got the email and if they opened it at all.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a challenge, right?
Yeah.
But you also can't just get a list of names and put them in your email system and send them out something like that, because it's kind of iffy on the canned spam laws there.
Right.
Because they haven't signed up to get your information. So one thing that I always like, and I talk about this with the students in the Thrive Marketing Academy all the time, is referral marketing, networking marketing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean networking like MLM, but I mean like getting out and networking and talking to people.
Yeah.
That's marketing too. So when you're in a space like that, or you're trying to do some of that, I always encourage people to mail, like postal mail with the stamp stuff.
Yeah. Because
nobody's used to getting that anymore. I mean, we have a mailbox now. Most of our bills come by email. We don't get much in there except, stuff from the politicians, stuff from the real estate agents. Yeah. A lot of it is junk mail. So when people get other kinds of mail, especially the kind that will stand out, a handwritten, envelope kind of thing instead of a sticker and, one done that way. Those are things like whatever you can do to make yourself stand out, especially because you really are trying to reach the heart-centered entrepreneur. Reaching them by email is probably not going to be as ideal as reaching them in other ways. And you will want to do multiple touch points. So you want to create for yourself, a list of activities that you do in a process and an order. First one, get all the names. Second one, decide which, one is for them. Third one, send them out and explain it. I would, for these two options that you have, I think you can talk to them both, because that was one question you're wondering. Should I only tell them about one or the other?
Yeah.
They kind of piggyback on each other. Yeah. So I don't think you should exclude one and only tell them about one.
Right.
But I would focus on the starter one if that's the one that's more ideal for people.
Yeah, depending on
and you can mention that there is a part 2 and that it takes you to the next level and you do this and this kind of thing. Right. So I would do that, but you don't want to have, like, right now, honestly, you have a lot of text on these 2 web pages. Yeah. So what you send them, you want to pare down the message. You want to have visual in it. You want to have color. You want to make it stand out. In this day and age, you can use a QR code on that PDF. So then they could take their phone and get right to the website to get more info.
For sure.
Do things like that. But I wouldn't, the way that I would do this is whatever one is part 1 or kind of step 1, I would start with that one and then mention the other one. If somebody is already done and passed a certain part and would never do the part 1, maybe you need to have something else for part 2. But I don't think from the sounds of it, that's really how you would do this. You would always start them with the beginning point and then move them to the next stage, right? One thing you can also consider is offering a package deal on if they buy 2, the part 1 and 2, right?
Totally.
They want to make a decision now to get both. They can save a little bit of money, right?
That makes sense.
So something like that as well. But for reaching out, do you tell them both or one or none? I would really highlight the first one and talk a bit about where the next stage goes and how it can, how it builds on that, but not get into the details on it.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And let me look back to your question here again, what you were saying. Optimize the bookings. So one of the ways is definitely for the reach out and the contact, like how they get started. I would have them, like I said, I wouldn't send them to anything online to sign up. I would have them reach out because it sounds to me like you might need to do a 15-minute discovery call or something with everybody.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. So that's what your CTA should be, your call to action. And it could be something more, I'm looking back to what you have here. The workshop is held seasonally. Sign up for wait list, it will say, to make sure you don't miss future dates. I would probably, if it was me and you have the ability on your website to make a specific contact form for this, like not your general contact form, I would make a second contact form that is specific for this, that gets a bit of the info you want about that person or the company in regards to specifically this program.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
And that's how I would follow with the reach out that you do as well. Don't just send them to any newsletter, like have them book that free 15-minute call. So instead of saying, connect with us to book your private, individual, group, or team session, it's very long, and private and individual are kind of the same thing too. I would say something, more in the way of, book a call today with Mackenzie. Is it going to be with you?
Yeah.
Or would it be?
Well, yeah, it would depend, I guess. But we can get more specific and streamline it between Jackie and I.
Right. But I would be very clear and say, not just contact us today, but book a call now to talk about if this program is a fit for you and your business and where you want to go. And that's how we get started. Right.
Yep.
So I would always keep it simple in that way. A really good way on any web page. We have a wireframing a web page lesson in my program. And one of the things that's always a good thing to do on any web page where you have, how do I get started? It's easy as 3 steps, always 3 steps. 1, book a call today with Mackenzie or Jackie. We'll determine if you're a fit for the program and when we can get started. 2, we go through, we get you in the program, we get you all the blah, blah, blahs that you're going to get. And 3, you move on and you live that dream life as the entrepreneur that you've been looking for. You kind of paint that picture. 1, you book the call. 2, we do the work. 3, you're going to do what you're going to be in the future.
Right.
So I would look at doing that. And that's something on your pages in particular, and even in any reach out that you do, don't save the call to action to the very end, especially after testimonials.
Definitely.
There should always be, and on your page, I would actually put it up. I would try to reduce some of the what is the offering, about the offering kind of thing. And I would have a spot. I like to follow, talk about their problems, empathize with them a bit about it, let them know there's a solution to it. You have the offer, the solution for it. And this is what it is. It's the inner leadership for business owners. And if you want to get started now, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You want some more details? Then underneath that, who is it? Who's an ideal fit for this? What's included? Another book a call button, testimonials, you're invited to join this, join up for this, and then another call to action at the end. So I would literally have 3 on this page, how I would lay it out.
Makes sense.
And then you kind of follow your reach out in the same way, right? You're going to need a couple touch points. Don't just assume 1 email, 1 mail, 1 reach out on LinkedIn, whatever it might be.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And some of your reach out, if you're going to do any online, you will want to come up with like a paragraph that you can introduce to people about it to try and get that next step where you can give them some more information. That way, and I know how you do things, you're very heart-centered entrepreneur is a very good description for you, I think, of what I know of you and our experiences together. And so coming from that real kind place of, giving them some information, but asking to take the next step is definitely how you would do that.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
So does that help get you a little more on what to do with it?
Yeah, I appreciate your wisdom and knowledge, and definitely some great things to think about and some ideas to move forward with. So thank you so much for your time and the space.
You're welcome. And we will have those action steps. I'll have those kind of outlined and summarized on the show notes page.
Perfect.
So everyone who's listening can be able to go to that.
That's great.
You'll see a link to that show notes page wherever you're listening to the podcast. So before we finish off here, Mackenzie, why don't you let our listeners know how they can reach out and connect with you? Because maybe there are some heart-centered entrepreneurs and business owners or new mom business owners out there who are struggling and just want to get to that place you were describing earlier of, running your business with a lot less stress and more peace. And so tell us how they can reach you.
Yeah. So the place I like to hang out the most is, in terms of social media, is Instagram. You can also find through the link through the Instagram profile, you can find a complimentary discovery call that's my favorite way to connect with people, is just learning about your story and what shaped you and what shaped your journey into where you are today as a business owner. So yeah, Instagram's a good place to come find me, learn more about what I do, and what Costron & Co. does as the collective, and to connect to, share space together.
Okay. What's your Instagram handle?
Yeah, it's Costron & Co.
So Costron & Co.?
Yeah, so COSTRONCO.
All right. Awesome. And we'll put a link to that in the show notes. And then, of course, you have your website as well. I'll put a link to both the websites on there, and folks can feel free to reach out to Mackenzie. So that is it for today. And reminder to everybody listening, you can apply for one of these free reviews on your own too. Simply visit pepperitmarketing.com/review, enter your information, tell me what you want to focus on the call, and we'll get you booked into a session as soon as possible. And in case you haven't figured out yet, it's also marketing for you. So people come on, Mackenzie, folks like you come on here and kind of share some of your business and your struggles and open up. And I really thank you for that, because I know others listening will benefit from it. But the other thing is, now all sorts of people who are connected to me know about Mackenzie and her business. So it is marketing for you too when you come on the podcast. So that's it for today. I will put all the links to Mackenzie's information in the show notes so that you can connect with her. And I will put a link to the review as well. And this is Kathy Colaiacovo saying thanks for listening in. And remember, to thrive in practice means taking the time to plan your offers, work on your messaging, be able to communicate it to people very effectively, and then start doing some of that networking and marketing to reach out and get them to sign up with you. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time. You can find all of our show notes and resources mentioned at marketingyourprivatepractice.com. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at pepperitmarketing and say hi. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, and make sure to rate and review the podcast and hit subscribe on your favorite player so you don't miss any future episodes.